Guess what? We were just here talking about layoffs, and now we're back to talk about, you guessed it, more layoffs. And this time, it's worse, because it's also affecting what was one of my most anticipated games of all time. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Amanda. You might know me as Vamp, and I am here to talk about some really disappointing news today in the gaming industry. We're talking about the cancellation of, the Wonder Woman game. I'm so disappointed by this. This was a game that I was really looking forward to seeing more from. We hadn't heard a lot on it, but I was just super excited, especially with the studio that was attached. We've never had a Wonder Woman game, and especially after the disappointment of how Wonder Woman ended up being treated by the end of Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, where she ended up being, I guess spoiler for that game, if you haven't played that game, I feel like you're probably not gonna at this point, but she ended up being the one Justice League character that is permanently dead now in the Arkhamverse. Very disappointing, considering I feel like what I got to see of her in the game, I also really liked, other than the fact that, she gets killed, I guess, in it. So that's really, really upsetting, because Wonder Woman fans, I feel like, there's so much Superman stuff, there's so much Batman stuff, but Wonder Woman, as part of the Trinity, the Holy Trinity at DC, she ends up being often the character that I feel like is the most overlooked. So that's what's happening, and why is it happening? That's a great question. Well, basically what we heard from Warner Brothers Games is that they decided to shut down Monolith Studios, which means that this game, which they were working on, is, yes, being canceled, along with the whole studio being gone. And I feel like this is another perfect example of Warner Brothers coming in and, having a studio or having something that is underneath their umbrella that they just ultimately don't know how to really run and maximize. And as a result, that ends up being the thing that they cut. And in this case, I think Monolith was actually going to put out something that would have made them a ton of money, but they're just so bad at managing sometimes their money that they end up having to cut things that are actually worthwhile, that we actually like. Why? It's really disappointing too, because it seems like their response to this is just so tone deaf. When they were communicating to people about the fact that Monolith was being closed, they also ended up closing as well the studio involved with Multiverses. The executive team basically said that Warner Brothers Games needs to regain their credibility and swagger at producing great games. They ended up ultimately blaming this on the current market, and this is referenced in a Kotaku article, which I will also put down below, so if you guys want to check it out, you can. They said the product market fit and quality of too many of our new releases has really missed the mark. We need to and will do better for our fans first and foremost, and also because, this is important, regaining that credibility is critical to us securing even more investment in games in the years to come. This is from JB Parrott, by the way, and it just is it's just all about money. It just feels like it's all about money. Goes on to say, getting our swagger back happens one high quality game release at a time, and our financial credibility gets rebuilt one fiscal quarter at a time, delivering what we said we would deliver and no big negative surprises. Negative surprises? Why are you even surprised when you're trying to turn everything into live service? Why are they talking about getting their swagger back too? Stop saying that. No one says swagger anymore, please. It's bothering me, and it feels rude considering you just got rid of studios that I think also we're doing some good work. The really disappointing part about this is that with the loss of Monolith, we're also going to be losing the Nemesis system. And if you don't know the Nemesis system, it's in Middle-earth Shadows of Mordor and Middle-earth Shadows of War, a game that I've actually played myself on stream before. If you don't know, I do stream at twitch.tv/vampex13 and also here on the live tab. You can check it out sometime. I might be live right now. Sorry, I'm obligated to mention that whenever I say it. My editor tells me I don't mention it enough, so it's done. The Nemesis system is really unique. It's really cool. It's just the way that you play through the game and face bosses, and the way bosses kind of get stronger as time goes on. It's a whole power structure that's really, really fun to play, and we haven't seen it in a long time, and that's because Warner Brothers actually owns the patent on it. So in this article from Eurogamer, they explain sort of the patent and how Warner Brothers got it, and they say the patent itself was originally filed back in 2016 before it was granted in 2021. It's dubbed Nemesis Character characters, Nemesis forts, social vendettas, and followers in computer games. As it stands, the patent has an expiration date of, get this, 11th of August, 2036. which means that Warner Brothers is going to have that patent for another 11 years. And it's likely, considering that we haven't seen them use it since they used it last. Wonder Woman was the first game that was going to be using the Nemesis system. It was the only game that we know of that was going to be using this system again right now, and they just canceled it. So that implies that Warner Brothers probably won't use it for another 11 years, as long as they keep up the patent with it and keep up those fees. Then after that, will anyone ever use it again? I don't know. I would hope so, because it's a great system. And I mean, if you know the games that I'm talking about, if you know Shadows of War or you know Shadows of Mordor, you know how amazing those games were. So I would hope that once the patent has expired, people will use it again. But the other thing is, the people that know how to use it were the people at Monolith. And now those people, Monolith doesn't exist anymore. Those people still exist, but the studio doesn't. So how's that gonna work? Okay, even worse than this when it comes to the Wonder Woman game is that one of their consultants for the writing is actually Gail Simone. So Gail Simone was actually working on this game. It had been mentioned in an article. So Gail went to Twitter or X or whatever to respond and say that now that people know that she was working on it, she had some words to say about it. So I'm just gonna read her thread of tweets. This, reading it, was really upsetting as a Wonder Woman fan, and really upsetting to hear that Gail Simone, who was working on this game, this game isn't happening. It sucks. It really sucks. Okay, regarding the Wonder Woman video game, others have already revealed elsewhere that I was a consultant on this game, so that cheetah is out of the bag. I want to say a couple important things about the game and the team who made it. I was asked to do long-term consulting on the game, and I was thrilled to do it. It was a perfect storm of stuff I adore: Wonder Woman, video games, and one of my favorite games studios, Monolith, who produced the Game of the Year Mordor games that I was completely addicted to. The game was gorgeous and expansive. It was beautiful to look at. I'm not going to give details for a number of reasons, but every effort was made to make this not just a great game, but a great Wonder Woman game. A showpiece epic. So disappointing to hear this. So disappointing to be reading this. I know there's a lot of finger pointing going on, but everyone I worked with from Monolith and Warner Brother both was enthusiastic and supportive. Everyone wanted to make the best game ever. Sometimes you give your all and it doesn't work out, but that was an amazing team, and I can only hope they continue to make brilliant games. Someone is going to snap them all up and set a new industry standard. I know it. And I mean, I think the important thing to take away as well from what Gail is saying, beyond the fact that this game sounded like it was going to be a dream game for Wonder Woman fans, so that's obviously really sad. But I think the other key thing is when Gail says, I know there's a lot of finger pointing happening, but the people that I worked with from Warner Brothers were also great too. It's important to also remember that although obviously this is a decision of Warner Brothers that I think is awful, I think it sucks, that the people that work there aren't even necessarily the problem, right? Like, this is a bigger problem than just any one person, I feel. This is an industry problem. This is a gaming industry problem in terms of where the focus is right now for so many people that are making games, and that is on money. And I mean, to be honest with you, this isn't just a gaming problem. This is a bigger problem than even just the gaming industry standards. This is a world industry standard, sometimes it feels like, or at least, from a North American perspective, maybe I can say a North American standard in terms of our culture that I feel like is a problem. And ultimately it comes down to this idea of one person sitting on a pile of money, this belief that we have of one person can sit on that pile of money and it could be you. But the reality is it can't be all of us, right? So there's just going to be one person on that pile of money at the end of it, looking down at everyone that can't afford to eat. It's just really, really, really sad. And if you're not making more every quarter, if you're not making money every year that's more than the previous year, you are not doing well, and so you have to cut stuff. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. That's, I think, why these studios were cut, especially when it comes to Monolith. Maybe a little less so with Multiversus, because I know that game was underperforming. But it's such a problem. And I mean, Riot Games also has this as well, where it's this belief of, if we're not making more, then we're not succeeding. But at the end of the day, there's only so much money in the world. So if we keep following that system, like, where do we end up? And it sucks for us to be losing a game that sounds like it was going to be great, and losing a studio that we knew was great, and a system that was really cool and really different. Yeah, I mean, that's the news. It's really upsetting, but I think at the end of the day, we can at least take from this where we really need to be focusing and what our focuses should be, right? Because this is upsetting news, but I would hope that, although I'm not sure if Warner Brothers Games is gonna really learn anything here, that we can all learn something from this, which is that, you know, serving the god of money doesn't really even get you more money in a weird way, because it's Warner Brothers Games trying to focus everything on just profitability as opposed to focusing on what gamers want and what is actually fun that has put them in this position where they've had to make these choices. Hopefully we see a shift in the industry. Hopefully us talking more about it and talking about what we really want as gamers will help to create that shift. And hopefully we can all treat each other as we should be treated, fairly and justly, and by actually paying people what they're worth. That's the most we can do, I guess. So that's pretty much it. I just want to share this with you. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And this is my only Wonder Woman shirt I own, guys. I need more Wonder Woman shirts to end this on a lighter note. So if you have any Wonder Woman shirts or clothes that you feel like are really cool that you've seen anywhere, feel free to share that with me down below. I don't know if you can share links, but I have a throne. You could always suggest it there so I can buy stuff. Or, you know, if you can tell me places where you've seen cool stuff, let me know. I want to check it out. I want to get more Wonder Woman merch in my closet because I do not have enough of that. I have this and I have a skirt, and I think that's it. I'll see you next time, and until then, friends, be kind to each other and stay nerdy. Bye.